Jake the dog has many extraordinary stories, transformations and abilities throughout Adventure Time. In this video we'll be diving straight into the land of Ooh to uncover the lore of Jake the dog from start to finish. And yes, you heard me right, abilities. If you've watched the show, Jake has stretchy powers allowing him to change the shape, size and dimensions of his whole body. I wish I could do that. And stick around as we'll be covering all of his forms and disguises. Not only can he stretch and contort himself into highly specific forms, but he can also rearrange his internal organs, bones and teeth. In the episode Evicted, he was able to shrink and move his internal organs and blood into his left thumb. Also in the episode Jake vs Meow, he enlarged his liver 51 times the dog's size, preventing him from succumbing to Meow's poison. One frequent use of his powers is Key Hand, which he uses to pick locks. He also used his arm as a bow, able to accurately shoot arrows at a short distance. But let's take a step back for Jake's abilities, as we'll go into more detail into those later in the video. But let's find out who Jake really is. Starting off with the question we've all been wondering. How old is Jake the dog? In the debut of the series, Jake was said to be 28 years old in magical dog years, although at the time it wasn't specified how old that is in human years. In Dad's Dungeon and Jake the Dad, he and Finn are seen as babies at the same time, meaning that he ages at a much faster rate than humans, but a slower rate than dogs do normally. However, this may just be an error. In the episode Memory of a Memory, in Finn's memories, Finn is seen as a baby, and pictures on the wall show Jake and Jermaine as older kids, hinting that Jake may be older than Finn in human years. In the episode Joshua and Margaret Investigations, in the flashback of the day Jake was born, it also mentions the events occurred after Flame Princess's birth in Earth and Water happened on the same day, meaning that Jake would be 16 years old in human years. His current biological age is 34, as stated by Steve Wolfhard in the Conversation Parade podcast, meaning that at some point his age is slowed down from when he was a puppy. Jake says in Daddy-Daughter Card Wars that he lost track of how old he is, but thinks he might almost be 40. The first investigation once again shows Jake and Finn being babies at the same time, implying that they may be the same age in human years. Jake the Star Child shows that Jake and Jermaine turned 5 while Finn was still a baby, and later shows as a teenager graduating high school, with Finn still a baby, implying that he may age fast and making Jake's real age even more difficult to comprehend. Now, we've kind of solved the mystery of Jake's age. Let's do a quick background check on Jake. Let's start all the way back from when Jake was conceived. Jake was conceived when his parents Joshua and Margaret were on an investigation tracking down a shape-shifting creature in the forest. TMI adventure show, TMI. In the episode Tree Trunk's House, during the investigation, they were attacked by the creature and it bit Joshua on the head. Jake was later born from the pustule that formed from the bite on his father's head and was taken in by Joshua and Margaret to live alongside their natural-born son, Jermaine.
Hello, Daddy. Hello, Mommy.
It is inferred that Jake's stretchy powers that he had since he was a puppy are a result of his biological relationship with the shape-shifted creature, although Jake himself never learned this until the creature returned in Jake the Star Child. Before this point, Jake believed he had gained his powers from rolling in mud as a puppy. Little was revealed of Jake's past with his family. At some point, when Jake and Jermaine were still infants, Joshua and Margaret find a human baby named Finn, abandoned in the woods, raising him as their own. Jake would develop a lifelong friendship with Finn over the years. Joshua was known to push his 3 sons to be tough, while Margaret was often more protective and nurturing towards them. Jake regardlessly generally holds fond memories of being raised by them in their old house. Sometime around Joshua and Margaret's deaths, Jake moved into the tree fort with Finn, while Jermaine stayed at their parents' house for a while. Jake was known to be a successful criminal until he retired to take part in a more respectable life as an adventurer with Finn, later settling down with Lady Rainicorn to become a father.
They're still pretty sleepy. Sleepy little sweeties.
If you think Jake first appeared in the Adventure Time show, then you're wrong. Jake first appeared in the Adventure Time short film as part of Nickelodeon's Random Cartoon series in 2007, which grew hugely popular and led to the first season of Adventure Time in 2010, 3 years later. So now we know he first appears in the short film Adventure Time, which centers around rescuing Princess Bubblegum from the evil Ice King. This short aired as part of Nickelodeon's Random Cartoon Showcase in 2008. Jake appears in 283 episodes, whilst also appearing in the 7th season of Futurama, where Bender briefly meets Jake and Finn. I think that's just a really sick crossover. I love Futurama and I love Adventure Show, so you know, that's pretty gnarly. Now we've seen Jake has stretchy abilities, but often in this show we see Jake use these abilities to transform into different forms. Not only do we see the forms of Jake that he forms himself, but we see some of Jake's past lives, future lives, and Jake's from different dimensions. I guess you could call it Jakeverse or Dogverse, your pick. In the world of Ooh, reincarnation exists, which explains some of the forms of Jake we see in the show, such as Shoko's tiger, which is actually one of Jake's past lives. Shoko's tiger is a character from the episode The Vault. It is Shoko's loyal companion, whom she rides throughout this episode. Now, we've seen a couple past and future versions of Jake. Let's take a look into the Jakeverse by exploring some of the multi-dimensional versions of Jake. In the episode The Lich, after real Finn and Jake are pulled from the wormhole by the Lich, disguised as Billy, the scene goes to another dimension where we see Farm World Finn with a robotic arm and playing the flute. Jake is seen as a normal dog with small eyes and he has no shape-shifting or stretching powers and is unable to speak, but barks like a normal dog. This was caused by Finn's wish for the Lich's non-existence. At the climax of Jake the Dog, after Finn saves Jake from the goo pit of the mushroom bomb, Jake acts more rapid and aggressive. Later on he gained his powers in the farm world, but had a terrible result as he attacks Farm World Finn while turning into a giant lich-like monster. Next we have the episode Dungeon Train. Finn observes the possible future scenario where he doesn't leave the dungeon train and keeps fighting the train's denizens. Finn is initially content with the outcome until he sees that Jake stayed with him all those years, trying in vain to get Finn to leave with him.
I'm sorry. If you wish to join me, I'll be in the treehouse experiencing the joys of life and not getting attacked by gorillas made out of hair.
Weird Plants is a duet Finn and Jake perform in the episode Food Chain. It features Finn and Jake as two flowers singing about how days move faster from a plant's perspective due to them moving slowly. Halfway through, they are being eaten by caterpillars and crying for help. They are unhappy when two birds arrive to eat the caterpillars. Let's take a quick look at Weirdo Jake, who is an alternative version of Jake the Dog. He resides in the Grotto World, which can only be accessed via a whirlpool in the grotto of the water nymphs. He lives in a regular tree with Weirdo Finn. And another little fella, Jax the Raccoon, is a fictional character created by the Ice Queen in her fan fiction. Intended to be a gender-swapped version of Cake, he is presumably Flynn's adoptive brother, as that is the relationship of their gender swaps. Now, this form of Jake is probably one of the most popular. We have Cake the Cat. Cake the Cat is the gender-swapped version of Jake in the Ice King's self-written fanfictions. She is a supported character in Adventure Time Fiona and Cake. She is also featured in the episodes Fiona and Cake, Bad Little Boy, The Prince Who Wanted Everything, 5 Short Tables, and briefly in the Fiona and Cake and Fiona. She is also mentioned by the Ice King in King Worm and Mystery Dungeon. Cake travels with Fiona and Lord Monochromiacorn, something like that, is her boyfriend. She has stretchy powers and can morph her body just like Jake. As a cat, she also possesses the ability to see in the dark. The fur on her tail stands on the end and frizzes out when there is danger around. or when she gets excited. In the sequel series, Adventure Time Fiona and Cake, it was revealed that Cake and Fiona are real due to Prismo's inspiration to create his own reality, but had been hidden with Ice King's mind. And finally, in today's version of Jake First, we have Jake, also known as Baby Jake. Baby Jake is the version of Jake from the Baby World timeline, who makes his first appearance in The Winter King. Okay, now we've completed the Jake First, let's take a look at some of Jake's disguises and forms used in the show. Some of them are pretty questionable, so make sure you stick around. First up, we have Jake's Subconscious. Jake's Subconscious is in the subconscious manifestation of Jake that appears in the episode The Witch's Garden. He is first seen at the River of Junk when Jake said that crossing the river looked hard. Jake's subconscious then appears before Jake and also tells him that this is too hard to cross the river and that Jake should simply wear a hat instead. What, bro? This suggests that Jake's subconscious has personality similar to Jake's. He later appears when Jake is making his appeal to the witch in order to get his powers back. When Jake refuses to give in to the witch's humiliating demands, Jake's subconscious tells Jake that he is in the subconscious form of Jake's old magical self, and is therefore beginning to die.
Goodbye, Jake. No, no!
This makes Jake start to cry and apologize. The witch is thoroughly happy with Jake's sorrow and decides to take pity on him. She returns his powers and subsequently restores the vitality of his subconscious self. Jake and his subconscious then leave the witch's garden in laughter after Jake takes away the witch's cane, rendering her powerless. Although Jake's subconscious is translucent and merely Jake's subconscious, he is still solid, as when Jake cried over his dying body, tears ran off his sides. This also means that Jake's subconscious can affect the materials plane, as shown when he passes the hat to Jake. He also blames his subconscious for somehow getting a donut, so it could have been that his subconscious actually went and brought it to Jake. It can be assumed that only magical beings can see Jake's subconscious. While Jake was having a vibrant conversation with him, Finn tells him,
Jake, stop talking to yourself!
Another way to see it could be that Finn literally meant that Jake should stop talking to himself, literally. The witch who stripped Jake of magical powers was also somehow able to see him and hear him. We also have a form from a great episode in which the conductor is the main antagonist in Mystery Train. He is seen winking, smiling and blushing all at once, and his pink head is much wider than his body. He wears a blue suit and a hat. Throughout the episode, he comes and goes during the train ride and begins creeping Finn out. Not until all other suspects are dead is he actually suspected of murdering all the candy people, because according to Finn, it's never the creepy guy who's the murderer. After supposedly murdering everybody, including Jake,
You feel kinda bony.
an arranged Finn chases him across the entire length of the train. After a short one-on-one battle in the train's control room, he is revealed to be Jake in disguise via pink and blue paint and his stretchy powers. The paint may be some sort of liquid candy since Jake licked it off himself after he revealed himself. The next form is the one of my favourites, Magic Fist. Magic Fist is the disguise Finn and Jake wore in Wizard Battle. In order to be eligible to compete, Finn and Jake wear a big red trench coat, a blue hood and dark blue shades. Only Finn's face and Jake's arms and legs can be seen, and the rest is kept under a coat. Jake was the magic second head of Magic Fist, and Magic Fist's limbs are Jake's arms and legs. Since Jake cannot see while his head is inside the cloak, Finn tells Jake where to attack with clock position code. Now, this next one is probably one of the funniest forms. The Jake suit first appears in The Silent King. This is the only way the goblins will not see their king being unkingly. The Jake suit consists of Jake as armor with a hole with Finn's face. The hole looks like the hole on Finn's hat. This suit makes its user looks extra muscular, although that's just because of Jake's stretchy powers. Another funny form we have, Blue Nose, is the main character in the episode Sad Face. He's Jake's tail wearing a small black fedora, a makeup to depict a white face, red frown and blue nose. He takes on a mind of his own and joins the travelling mini circus in order to free Goralina from the grasp of the ringmaster. In the end, he was successful. Now, this one gets a bit strange. Even though Jake was not the gut grinder, he believed himself to be the gut grinder so much that he became one. Soft people, cube people, and spiky people all thought that Jake was the gut grinder. Once he believes he is the gut grinder, his eyes become black and white spirals, most likely to emphasize his craziness. And throughout the episode, the scared townspeople thought Jake was the gut grinder. The gut grinder was actually Sharon, the mayor's wife, who made her costume look like Jake because she thought he was hot. Not weird. The actual gut grinder costume looks similar to Jake, but with dark orange, rough fur, and the same crazy spiral eyes. He also carries a mace, which looks like Jake's face, with pink spikes and white and pink striped handle. When entering the spiky village in the episode Gut Grinder, Finn gave Jake a pair of Groucho glasses, so that the spiky people would not think Jake was the gut grinder. Jake donned the combination of the glasses, nose, mustache, and introduced himself as Groucho, a clear homage to Groucho Marx. He was on 4 legs, sports a much wider body to the proportion of a horse or a similar sized animal, and wears the glasses on his fake head, while his face lies hidden between his 2 front legs. Now in the episode Insidium, Jake claims to be the Baron of Grasslands and an envoy of the Prince Finn. Jake pretends that he was a royal blood to court Flame, princess for Finn, but later on discovers that Flame Princess is evil. He is seen blue because he is using a flame shield. This also causes the backpack and boots to look blue. He is seen using a flame guitar while in this persona, which he uses to sing All Warmed Up Inside.
I really want to kiss you right in front of your dad.
Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sorry, I had to. Anyway, in this episode, The Creeps, Jake wears a tall top hat with a green mask along the purple cape with a tuxedo and a bow tie. He also wears black shoes. Jake shows a lack of appreciation when he throws the cards on the ground. In the episode, Trouble in Lumpy Space, Jake was turned lumpy during the Malay tea ceremony when Lumpy Space Princess falls on him and bites him, causing Jake to get the lump. When he turned back to his normal Jake, he was at prom coming and he fell on the antidote that Finn had bought. He is pink and his face looks the same. He only has 4 lumps, not including his tail, and talks like Lumpy Space Princess.
Lumpy's the best.
Hey, stop talking to yourself, dumb guy.
He also developed an attitude similar to Lumpy Space Princess. Lumpy Jake is hated by Lumpy Finn. Okay, so Demon Jake appears in Daddy's Little Monster, so they can sneak into the Night Sphere. He sings political rap in this form, and Jake looks like a quadrupedalian demon with big and sharp teeth. He has pointy ears, his eyes are black with white diamonds in the center, and an extra large jaw to showcase the many pointy teeth. Another spooky one we have is Zombie Jake, who appears in the episode From Bad to Worse, when he was bitten by Mr. Candy Cane as a candy zombie. Zombie Jake looks like Jake but with dark yellow grey skin and cracks throughout his skin, along with a dark rimmed light green eyes. Zombie Jake is the first zombie to be cured in From Bad to Worse, but turns back into a zombie merely seconds later after being bitten again. In the episode Princess Cookie, Jake dresses as a milkman in order to rescue the hostages. He wanted to dress as a milkman, but Princess Bubblegum said it wasn't realistic. Finn dresses in an outfit similar to that of a ninja, pretending to be Jake's shadow. At the end of the episode, dressed as a mailman, he delivers a daisy crown to Baby Snaps. His milkman outfit is a simple white suit and cap, while black tie, belt, and boots. His mailman outfit is a white button-up t-shirt with blue shorts held up by the same belt, a tan safari hat, and a blue satchel filled with mail. Next up, we have the episode Poohoy. Elder Finn has a flashback about Jake, but he looks odd and morphed. His nose and jaws are furthered up in between his eyes. His jaws also appear to be longer than usual. His eyes are opposite colour with the outside white and their inside black. Also, he has 3 white hairs on his head. He also gives different advice than actual Jake did. In the episode Her Parents, Jake dresses up like a rainicorn to impress Lady's parents. In his imagination, he has stripes in light pink, dark pink, purple, neon green, and yellow. And salmon? The legs have the same pattern as ladies' legs. In reality, he is simply covered in ketchup and mustard. Yummy. Another form appears in the episode All Your Fault. Jake is shapeshifted to look like female Cinnamon Bun. He also wears a pink bow and is called Girlfriend by Cinnamon Bun. This is not the same as Cinnamon Bun gender swap, although both have bows on their heads. Jake is pink while the gender swaps is green. She also has a green dress while Jake's version has no clothes. In the episode Being War, Jake shapeshifts into a MO in order to gain entrance to the MO Co. There is no known JMO created by Mo, although it can be assumed that there is one for every letter, and that we simply haven't seen a real JMO before. The episode Candy Streets, where Pete is in the candy dungeon. Finn and Jake interrogate Pete because they are certain he is guilty as a joke. Jake meets a fake lawyer, sprite from himself. The lawyer lets Pete know that he is ultimately guilty, and Pete is obviously a little confused by this. He looks to have short hair, wide eyes, and a shirt and tie, although this is made complimentary of Jake's skin. Boo! In the episode Ghostfly is an attempt to stop the Ghostfly. Jake gathered some unfinished business and was then zapped by BMO, so that he may become a sheep ghost. In this form, he could enter the same realm as Ghostfly and make physical contact with him. In the episode Don't Look, Finn acquired a pair of magical eyes that caused people to turn into exactly what he saw them as. When Finn saw Jake as a good older brother, he caused Jake to appear to look like a humanoid. With a varsity jacket, he later made Jake into a large-eared, wrinkly old man with a cane after Jake shared wise words of advice. Next, we have another spooky Jake. In Together Again, when communicating with the Peppermint Butler, Finn and Jake appeared to look like a blue, transparent spirit. In the episode Slime Central, Finn and Jake first disguised themselves as slime elementals. However, after going into the slime princess's body to retrieve the jewel from her, Jake became too comfortable and transformed into his slime elemental form. This caused him to assimilate with the slime princess until the end of the elemental series. The episode Winterlight has pretty good form. Shortly after entering the ice elemental section of Ooh, Jake began to speak depressing remarks as he grew an ice spike on his head. Shortly after this, the rest of his body turned to ice as he held his knees and continued to wallow in sadness. Although Patience St. Pim said that Jake would never leave. Now having succumbed to her element, Finn took Jake anyway. After returning to the Clyde Kingdom, Jake returned to normal. In the episode Together Again, Finn and Jake possesses fish in Life's universe, causing them to turn into mermaids. At first, Jake appeared to look more like a normal fish, but was able to change his form looking more like a mermaid. And finally, we have Nina. Although he is not properly recognised as an alternative version of Jake, he is Gunther's companion and can be associated as a reincarnation of Jake because of his colour and face. And the title card of the episode mirrors the last part of the Adventure Time's introduction, with Gunther taking the place of Finn and Nina taking the place of Jake. Nina's appearance in Evergreen. I did some research on Reddit and a lot of people's headcanons just think Nina is an ancient dog ancestor. Now we've wrapped up the Jake forms, let's just learn a bit about Jake the dog himself. I know you'll find out some new facts about everyone's favourite cartoon dog character. Sorry, Scooby. Jake is generally laid back and tends not to worry about things. He relies heavily on his powers, or Finn, to get him out of any dangerous predicament. While he often cracks jokes at serious times, Jake always has a lecture or a song to cheer Finn up if he's feeling disheartened. Acting as Finn's worldwide mentor, Jake is always willing to give input and advice about a situation, but his suggestions are usually inconsistent, ranging from encouraging and helpful suggestions to ridiculous nonsense. He could be somewhat irresponsible at times, frequently leaving Finn to fight most of the battle on his own, but he always pulls through when he is needed the most. Jake may be dyslexic, as evidenced by the fact that he writes backwards as shown on his notes to Finn in storytelling. However, Finn also writes backwards in several episodes, indicating that this may be the result of Joshua and Margaret's parenting style or a common mistake in the land of Ooo. Jake is easily persuaded into doing dangerous and irresponsible things, as in The Limit, when he states that he would do anything if someone says his name 3 times. Jake loves to eat. He likes junk food, especially pie, burger and ice cream. But he has stated in Slumber Party Panic that eating chocolate or fudge would probably kill him. Much like a normal dog, he is not afraid to try new foods as seen in Her Parents and invents many of his own foods. There is evidence of his ability to cook. He makes Korean food for Finn at the beginning of The Apple Thief. And he cooked all the food that he used to make the everything burrito. He made coffee in the episode Butopia, bacon pancakes in Burning Low, making bacon pancakes, and also scrambled egg in the episode Frost and Fire. He used his cooking skills to create an incredible sandwich in Time Sandwich that contained several unusual and original ingredients such as lobster sole and a bird from the kitchen window. Jake also possesses symptoms of ADHD. He can literally forget about a conversation in a moment and starts doing something completely unrelated, such as putting an ice cream cone in a toaster. This is shown in Power Animal, when he gets continually distracted by his surroundings while looking for Finn. Cinnamon Bun summarizes it quite nicely, saying, "Jake, you don't really need to focus at all." This is also shown in Burning Low, when he falls asleep twice. Once when Princess Bubblegum is trying to explain why Finn cannot be with the Flame Princess, and again when Finn tries to get poetry ideas from him. He is a firm believer in fate and destiny. Jake also believes in Grob, Gob, Glob, Grod, and Glob World. He is also not very willing to do things that require effort, sometimes as shown in The Witch's Garden, when he is unwilling to run and save Finn from Gary. His lack of effort is also shown in Who Would Win, when he states that he would rather play Compy's Castle than train. Now, it's that time of the video we all hate. The end, the death of Jake the dog. The Adventure Time Distant Land special, Together Again, takes place sometime after the end of the series, when Jake has died of old age. He then journeys through the Dead Worlds to be reunited with Finn the human, who is also deceased. After reuniting with Finn, the two choose to reincarnate back into the living world. As what? No one knows. Presumably fated to go on more adventures together forever. A very poetic and wholesome ending to the legendary show and iconic characters. Long live Jake, Finn, and the world of Ooo.